Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching. Today, I continue to speak to my wellness director friends, specifically those of you who are ready to take the leap into consulting. You know you've outgrown your current position, and you also know that there really aren't any more positions out there that could actually make you grow and advance. And you're at this situation thinking, how do I actually get into consulting? Now, in these last few weeks, I have, as I've been teasing about the launch of my new program, the Wellness Consultant Blueprint, I've had the opportunity to speak to many brilliant wellness directors who are seriously considering the leap. And one thing, there was a very prevalent thought that came, and that I thought, okay, I have to really jump on and do a live on this subject. And that is, consulting will not save you. If you're looking to be saved, then consulting won't save you. And today I'll tell you what actually will. So let me rewind to say what pattern I am seeing. I am seeing I'm bitter, I'm resentful, I've lost my spark, I've made myself small. And the prevalent thought is deep down that if I go into consulting, it will fix all this. And all this drama and mess will be cleaned up. And the harsh truth is that if that is the reason you want to get into consulting, then definitely don't. Because what consulting does is not take away your problems. It only amplifies who you already are. Because you bring yourself, your energy, your thoughts into your own business. And your clients can smell that. Now, I know I'm speaking to wellness people, so I can talk to you like this without you thinking I'm a certified nut job. This is not me being woo, or this is not me being a tree hugging hippie. This is me telling you how it is. And this is me telling you, this is the person who has walked that path. And I've been in consulting 18 years. So I know this feeling all too well. And I have also seen other consultants along these 2 decades come in and go, come in and go. Specifically because of this. And I think it's important that we know that consulting will not save us. And I just want to make that message very, very clearly. If you are pursuing the path of consulting, thinking that it will save you, thinking that it'll fix your problems, then definitely don't go down that path because it definitely won't save you. So while I was preparing for today's session, here are the patterns I'm seeing. So the bitterness comes from not being heard. The resentment comes from being constantly undervalued. The pattern is of making ourselves small. And there is this belief that if I just become a consultant, all this goes away. And we think we're leaving a toxic job or a toxic environment or a toxic reality of spa directors and wellness directors in the hospitality industry. But what we're actually doing is taking our toxic energy. Yes, my friends, it's ours. It's our toxic energy. And we're taking that into business leadership. And the root cause of this resentment, this bitterness, this losing our spark, this making ourselves small, is that we've spent years trying to convince hotel operations that wellness has value. and I'm guilty as charged. I've done that many times. We've also been fighting to be heard in executive committee meetings. I mean, we're lucky if we even get a seat at the hotel's big table. And we've been justifying our sheer existence to people who see spa as that kind of foo-foo department. And we've internalized the message that we're not important enough. And here is what we don't talk about very often. The day we felt undervalued was the day we actually had the power to change it. Now, stay with me. This is not me getting all woo. I have never been a fan of the victim mentality. But the day we felt undervalued, we definitely had it in our power to show our value. And we just didn't know it, or we just didn't want to own it either. And the problem with that is, while we are busy being bitter and resentful in our current roles, here is actually what is happening. And here, I'm speaking to wellness people. So you know this more than anyone else. You're training your nervous system to operate from scarcity. You are practicing being undervalued every single day. You're getting good and very good at feeling powerless, at being the victim. And you are rehearsing and very diligently the exact energy you will bring to your consulting business. And every day you sit in resentment, in that bitterness, in being that small person, in being the person who no longer has that spark, you're literally practicing the mindset that will sabotage your business. Now, I'm not saying anything you don't already know. And here is what actually happens. Our clients will smell this desperation, this resentment, this bitterness, this lack of spark a mile away. They just wouldn't know how. Something is off about this person, but I just don't know what. And clients who are going to invest multi-million dollars in creating wellness and longevity facilities are not going to hire people who need saving from the industry. They're going to hire people who are already whole and who know the industry and who love the industry and who feel powerful about it. And you know this more than anyone else. I'm just saying what you already know. Your energy speaks a lot louder than your credentials ever will. No one hires a consultant to fix them, while the consultant is clearly not in good shape themselves. You're not going to hire a therapist who doesn't have their life together to help you get your life together. That simply just doesn't work. And here's what consulting actually amplifies. Consulting doesn't save you from your problems. It actually amplifies who you already are and what you think about the industry. So this is how it shows up in business. So this is, remember earlier on when I was mentioning, I have seen in 2 decades, consultants come in and go out. And sometimes I want to reach out to them and, give them some coaching and let them know. But it's when we think consulting is here to save us, then the impact of that goes far beyond into our consulting business that we don't even imagine. And here is how it shows up in our business. I've seen it show up in pricing. So this thought, this belief that I can't charge hotels so much because they don't even value wellness. And what ends up happening is that you put your prices down, you undercharge, and then you live in this financial struggle, this constant financial struggle. And then eventually you end up leaving consulting because you can't make ends meet. So this resentment, this bitterness you're running away from is actually has a very powerful impact on the success of your business. And it not only shows up in pricing, it also shows up in boundaries. You think because you have done this in operations that I'll just do this extra work, but from the energy of to prove myself and my worth instead of to really blow my client's mind up and really over deliver. So you end up doing more work, and it comes from a place of I need to prove my value instead of I really want to over deliver here. And what that leads to, and this is serious, and this has happened to me in the past, your scope of work slowly grows. So if we take it to our day-to-day operations, you're the spa director, so you have to look after the gym, then you have to look after the pool area, then the kids club, because obviously, the spa is full of ladies, so we must be the ones who have to look after the kids club. Those little things start encroaching our kind of scope of work, and we let that kind of energy creep into the scope of work. And we take that extra work on rather, and we reach this point of burnout. And worse, our clients don't respect us. So when we continue to think that we don't have the power, we're resentful, we're bitter, that people don't value wellness, it's showing up in our pricing indirectly. It's showing up in the boundaries we place. Now, I'd like to highlight one thing. I am not saying do not over deliver your clients. I am saying definitely over deliver, but know the place from which it's coming. The other place that this shows up is in who you choose as a client. The mentality becomes, I need to take any client business because I need the money. And you end up working with people who don't respect you again, people who don't value wellness again. You're just further perpetuating that belief that you already have right now. And it also shows up in your marketing. You think, who would hire me? Like that limited jobs mindset is the same when we go out to the market and we are marketing ourselves out there. And what ends up happening is that you hide. You don't make yourself visible in front of the right people. And when you're hiding and when you are not visible, you can be the absolute cat's meow or the dog's bollocks. You're not going to get any clients if they don't know you exist. And it also affects how you deliver your expertise. Now, if you think that, they're not going to see my value, or I need to do more because they're not going to see my value, they're not going to appreciate it, that's the energy that goes into your work. You either end up bending over backwards to take over any request of your clients, you end up over delivering or throwing the entire kitchen sink in so that the client thinks, wow, look what this person has given me. And then again, you get into that vicious cycle of burnout, of lack of appreciation. You feel all of that. And you're living that same pattern that you're living right now in your job. but just in a very different context. So every limiting belief you have right now multiplies when you're the boss. If you believe the industry doesn't value wellness, you will struggle to charge premium prices. If you feel unheard, you will struggle to position yourself as the expert you are. And if you've made yourself small, you'll hide and you won't market yourself. So the energy you bring in to consulting is the energy you're only going to amplify. And here is what needs to happen. And it can even happen now while you're still employed. So it's not all doom and gloom. There is a way out to get past this resentment, this bitterness, this loss of spark, this being small. And there are 4 steps. The first step is to own your part. You know, you have stayed in situations that didn't serve you. And you have said yes when you meant to say no. And you've made yourself small. And this isn't about blame. It's about your power. You had it all along, but you chose not to see it. So own your part. You can't always be the victim. Secondly, clean up your energy. Process this resentment, this bitterness, this loss of spark, what you contributed. I mean, it's valid. Whatever you're feeling is valid. It's perfectly okay. But you need to work on it because it's heavy. And this heaviness will be taken into your business. Recognize where you've been, complicit in your own undervaluing, and shift from that thought of, they don't see my worth, to, I determine my worth. And third, change the story, from hotels don't value wellness, like a generic, the news, a fact. You can say some hotels don't value wellness because it's not the core business. And those aren't my clients. You can go from, I have to convince people of wellness's value, to, I work with people who already get it. And lastly, reclaim your voice right now. Start speaking up in your current role. Practice stating your value clearly today, and that of wellness. And get comfortable with the word no before you actually need to use it in business. Now, I would like to highlight, when I'm saying reclaim your voice now, that does not give you a license to be rude or disrespectful to your current property, or to gratuitously be rebellious. You can highlight your worth. You can put the blocks in place. But know that you are part of a bigger business. And you are going to have to play ball, because you are one part of a bigger business and you can't make it all about you. But that doesn't mean that you can't claim your worth. No one ever took it away from you. They just have a different core of business. And it's up to you to say X, Y, Z for the wellness business, or my role. And be comfortable with them not agreeing with it. And it's perfectly okay to agree to disagree. And you still need to do your job the way you were hired to do it. And when you actually work on all of this, I just want to highlight that I'm not saying that wait until you're perfect, or, until you're healed. What I am saying is Start the inner work now. You are the wellness person. So while you're still employed, start doing the work. Start reclaiming your voice now. Start practicing stating your value now so that when you do make the leap, you're leaping toward something better and you're not running away from something you can't stand or deal with. And I also want to highlight a bit more of what I am not saying. I'm not saying that you have to be completely zen before you start. And I'm not saying that you have to be completely healed before you actually become a consultant, because that's not true. And I'm not saying that you can't do both this inner work and build your business simultaneously. What I am saying is that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware and start working on why you want to leave where you want to leave and why you want to go into consulting. And you can build your business and do the work at the same time. This inner work that's required. But you can't pretend that the inner work doesn't matter, because it does. And I also want to highlight the cost of waiting. So you're constantly waiting for a better opportunity, or waiting to do all the inner work, or versus rushing to get away from where you are and run away to something else. When you're waiting, every year you stay bitter without doing the work, you're actually getting further away from your consulting dreams, your dreams to become a more evolved expert. And the longer you wait, the more kind of entrenched or ingrained these patterns become. And equally bad is also rushing. When you rush into consulting from bitterness, there is no other faster way that will close doors for you. And the industry is changing. There is a window of opportunity. For those of you who've reached this point where I've reached the maximum I can in daily operations, now it's your obligation to go and serve the entire industry. And the question is, what energy will you bring when you're actually walking past this window of opportunity? When you come from this clean place, you attract clients who are aligned to you naturally. You charge what you are worth genuinely without feeling guilty or doubting yourself. You create the boundaries you do need to without any drama. And you deliver superlative work without killing yourself along the way. And you also build a business that is sustainable, a business that works for your reality. And you, in the process, become an example for the next generation of wellness leaders. Consulting doesn't save you from your problems. Consulting only amplifies who you already are. So the question is, who do you want to become before you make the leap? And I kind of create 3 questions, like for you to have this internal barometer to know, where exactly am I on the scale of bitterness? Am I running away from something? Where exactly am I? Ask yourself these 3 questions, and I wrote them down here. Am I running away from something, or am I running to something? Am I running away from something I don't like, or am I running away to a better version, running towards a better version of myself? 2, if I'm being brutally honest, What energy am I bringing right now? Is it resentment, bitterness, no spark, or someone who is fully excited, pumped, and ready to go? And 3, am I willing to do the inner work while building the outer business? Now, if you're truly honest to yourself, if you answered that you're running away from a situation you don't like, you feel that bitterness, that resentment, and you've also answered no to not being prepared or ready to do the inner work, then you're not ready to be a consultant. And that's perfectly okay. But don't fool yourself into thinking that consulting will fix it, because it won't. It'll only amplify your problems. And if you answered that you're running towards a more evolved version of yourself, that you're working on your energy, that you might have that resentment, that bitterness, but you're working on it, and that you are absolutely willing to do the inner work while you're building your business, then this is your time. You're ready. The wellness industry needs consultants who lead from this place of wholeness. They don't need people who are wounded or a victim. They need people who build from clarity, and not because they're desperate. They need, this industry, our clients need people who know their worth because they've done the work to reclaim it. So be that consultant first and then build the business. And if you're ready to do both, the inner work and building your business with the proper support, that is exactly what I will be teaching in today's live masterclass, how to sign your first consulting clients. I'll be sharing the link with you in the comment section below. And I look forward to seeing you in the masterclass. And I know today's session was probably a bit woo, a bit direct, but I also don't want to misguide or mislead anyone out there. If you're running away and if you think that consulting will allow you to do the things that you love doing and not do any things that you don't like doing, or will save you from this resentment, this bitterness, this feeling small, this lack of spark, if those are the reasons why you're entering into consulting, know that consulting will not fix that. That is work you need to do by yourself. Because whatever the energy you have going on right now, whatever your thoughts about the industry and about your potential clients, that's only going to filter in your business. And when it filters into your business, things get a lot more worse because you are the one who has to fend for yourself when you're an entrepreneur, no one else. So whatever energy you bring into your business is exactly the type of success you'll see in consulting. And if you don't value yourself, or if you think you need to make yourself small, or if you think people don't get wellness, or if you think people don't spend on wellness, if you think I'm sick and tired of operations, you will never, ever, from that energy, be able to create a business around wellness and truly thrive in it. It just doesn't work that way. And I have seen many people drop along these 20 years. And I have had to work. I'm not saying that I've never had these feelings of bitterness, this frustration, but I've learned the hard way that if you don't clean that drama up, if you don't clean that mess up, it will always show up. And I can speak like this to you because you're in the wellness industry. You get me and you get this verbiage. So I'm not a certified nut talking woo or a tree hugging hippie. I'm talking lingo that you do understand and that you live on a daily basis. So, looking forward to seeing you in today's masterclass. Take care now. Bye.